All right, we're back here at MadLib Fest 2019 with the elder statesman, OHBLIV. How you doing?
I'm good. I'm good. I'm blessed to be here. So thank you for.
I'm blessed to talk to you. Blessed to talk to you. Just to start out, I feel like we'd be remiss to not say something about Raj G. You know, another elder statesman who passed this week. Do you have any wisdom he talked? You ever met him in real life?
Yeah. I met him in the flesh about 2.5, about 3 years ago. We had a show for Push, Swarvy, myself, Raj G, VHVL, and that was the first time I got to meet him. And actually, we ended up staying at the same place. We bunked together, so we got a chance to really chop it up and, talk about different schools of thought. And it's just, man, he was a light that touched the earth, like one of those lights that comes down, gives you some knowledge, gives you some light, and you can just move on with it. And he was the only guy that I knew of that had blank SP pads like me.
Yeah.
So for that alone, ultimate respect for that, because he's the only other person I know of that had that, like blank SP pads, which means that he hit that pad every day, So, rest in peace to the man.
He was a blessing.
Yeah, the shaman, Raj G, I know your energy is around us, so.
Blessings.
Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely.
So, I was reading up on you, and you were telling people, a bunch of interviewers, that you actually got started with pause tape recording and stuff.
Yeah.
And you said that you got started in 97, 98, which is when I was born. So you've been doing this for a long time.
Yeah, wow, yeah.
So what's been driving you this whole time to keep on going?
I honestly don't know, man. I think I ask that question of myself like weekly, why do I keep going? It's just this, the spirit, the drive,
Definitely.
like there's something, some type of intangible force that, that keeps me propelled to do this, like I love the music. I love being able to communicate with people through music. So
Definitely.
that's what keeps me going.
And when you were talking about pause tapes, I think you were telling Gino from Microchop about how it taught you a lot of patience.
Yeah.
So I was wondering if there's life lessons you can learn linked to the way you make music. And if you think that's the way you kind of learn things as you develop, as you move to the 303, then the 404.
Oh yeah, I mean, but with any form, medium that you use, it takes dedication. It takes taking time to understand what you're doing and why you're doing it. There's a lot of people that get into it for monetary reasons, which is fine, but really find your purpose with it. Like I always preach knowledge yourself, know yourself first, and when you know yourself, you know your purpose, and then your art will speak, volumes. You don't have to say a word. You can really let your art just speak for itself, because you will come through your art. So, just keep diligent, and like I said with Gino, patience.
That's great.
Yeah.
Speaking of art that speaks volumes, your latest record, Give Thanks for Fat Beat Records. You were talking, I was reading the description, and it said that you were trying out some new mixing techniques, trying out some new recording techniques. So I was wondering if you can be a bit specific, but not too specific, even if you're kind of stretching your style on that record.
I mean, I come from you mentioned the pause tapes.
Yeah.
So I come from a very, I guess, for lack of a better term, crude, just tapes and just straight up 2-track mixing, tape cassettes and stuff like that. So, over time, you learn more things, and you progress and stuff. So now I'm learning more about, frequencies and utilizing them, stuff like that. So, I mean, that's really essentially what I mean by trying to enhance my mixing techniques and stuff like that. Just getting deeper into the actual molding of the sound, and just making the raw emotion, because the beats are raw, and
Definitely.
I credited myself on making raw music, but now we're trying to get it, finesse it a little
Exquisite.
bit. Yeah, finesse it. Yeah, definitely.
So I said you were an elder statesman. You've been doing this for a long time,
thank
but you've seen the scene around you grow. You're talking about Mutant Academy, people like that who've been coming up, and you watched it come up in Richmond. What has it been like to kind of see everyone arrayed and growing up and glowing up?
It's beautiful. It's really beautiful, because I mean I've been doing this for a while now, so I've seen a lot of people come and go, and I feel like and I tell this to all the homies, like the pieces of the puzzle have finally come together, you know, especially like with Richmond and what we're doing, because that's where I'm at. But you know, it's beautiful to see, you know, everybody flourishing and the younger generation acknowledging the older generation, and the older generation respecting the youth and what they're doing and letting them have their space, you know, to doing things. And that's how things grow. You know, you impart knowledge and we just build on it, and we just build, and it's happening. So I mean, I'm grateful to be a part of it. You know?
Speaking of the younger generation, what are some artists that's like kind of excited you this year? What you've been listening to? What's been piquing your interest?
Oh man, I hate these questions.
I mean, if anyone's left out, it's already a preemptive. I'm sorry.
Yo, I can't even really get into specifics like that, because I mean, there's a plethora. I mean, of course, you know, because of proximity, you know, Fly Anakin, you know, Kahuna, Monday Night, and there's this dude Monday Night, Three-Way Slim. Those are some younger cats that in the Richmond area that are really doing some really dope, solid like work that they definitely have a future with, you know. I mean, B-wise, I mean, there's so many people out here, man.
There's a lot.
There's a lot. Wow, I can't even pinpoint it, because I don't
want to get you in trouble.
Yeah, man. I'm not trying to get in trouble, yo. But yo, respect to all the upcoming and all the youth out there doing things. Like, keep doing it. So that's all I can say, is just keep doing it.
Now, here's something that a lot of people might not know about you, but that you're classically trained vocally, right?
Oh, shit, yeah.
So I was wondering, you know, what was your actual pedagogical like background with music, and how you learned theory, how you learned all these things? I
sang baritone bass in college and in high school. I started taking theory around 6th grade. You know, I was in school band.
Definitely.
I played the trumpet. From there, I went on to vocal music. I discovered I could sing, because I was actually I got a call to be a part of my high school show choir that was starting the first time in my sophomore year. So from there, I started taking chorus, and then I realized that I could sing. Like, you know, like started making like district chorus and all state and stuff like that, like every year. So it got to my senior year, so I got a scholarship to VCU for vocal music. I didn't like the program.
That tends to happen.
I slept through theory every morning. So then I ended up just going into hip hop. But I mean, I absorbed some things, you know. But yeah, that was the path I was on, you know, like singing at the Met, you know, and doing all of that stuff, you know. But that wasn't in my heart, you know, like the, you know, beats and hip hop and rapping and all of that. That was like in my heart, so I had to follow that.
But if there was a divergent path in any way, or shape, or form, I would say it might be the Dark Twain kind of stuff that you're doing.
Yeah, man. Yeah,
and I remember you were saying in another interview that you were into Philip Glass, into Steve Reich.
Yeah.
So how does that kind of Western art music in the 20th century influence, if it does, or if at all, in the Dark Twain more experimental, more what people would call art music kind of thing?
Right. Well, I find it like to be a kind of like a mission for me to kind of like bring a more African, more black element into it, because you know guys like you know Steve Reich, Philip Glass, just throw out names. You know they were actually hearkening back to African music, you know, a lot.
Primitivism.
Yeah, the primitivism of They called it Fourth World, you know. So for me, listening to that, and I listened to that in my formative years, and it influenced me, but then it came to a point to where it's like, yo, these white guys are out here, and they're kind of like doing their form of like, you know.
Quote unquote.
Right. So I was like, yo, we're going to take it back, you know. So that's pretty much where the Dark Twain, you know, sound kind of evolved from. It initially was really on some vaporwave shit, though, to be honest. Like, I was just, you know, slowing down samples and stuff, and then the vaporwave thing kind of popped off, and I did a project for the the homegirl Luxury Elite, she had a label, and I did a tape for her. And then from there, it evolved into just delving deeper into like my other influences outside of hip hop, stuff that I grew up listening to and studying and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So
that's cool. I was looking at the tags on Bandcamp under one of the projects, and it says like Afro surrealism, Hermeticism. These are a lot of movements that are outside of the music strictly in the most definitional sense. But how did they influence your work?
They inspire my train of thought, in like my process and how I kind of like approach it, the laws of hermeticism, all of those things, vibration, rhythm, polarity, duality, all those things. I try to institute some type of way in my music, whether even subconsciously, because those are things that I study pretty much religiously. But Afro surrealism, just giving an alternate view of blackness, you know what I mean, in the present time and in the future tense, in the past, just kind of encapsulating, the essence and spirit of, who we are. So that's pretty much where all that kind of plays in.
So just to round out, what's next for you? Any projects you're excited about on the way? Any collaborations you're excited about that you can explain here?
I'm always working. Like that's what I do. Like, so there's always something, on the way. But there's more Dark Twain stuff.
That's great to hear.
There's definitely a lot more in that vein, and focusing more on that. Kind of laying back on the OHBLIV a bit. We're gonna delve deeper. Like times are kind of interesting right now, so I think I want to make like the soundtrack to that. So we're gonna see where that goes. So.
I mean, I have to ask, what do you mean by interesting? You don't have to bring the manifesto out, but
no, I'm not. I know manifestos, but no, I mean, we out here, we see it, like we see what's going on, like politically, socially. So yeah, we're in interesting time. So like,
put it lightly.
Yeah. So I mean, it's just time to be aware, of those things. Like we can't move with blinders on. So
definitely. Not now.
Yeah.
So, anything to leave with the people? Any last words?
I love you all. That's it.
That's great. Thanks for talking to me. I appreciate it.
Thank you, man.
Mm-hmm.